Y'all niggas got me hot.
Is we live? Is we live? Is we live? Yes, you are now tuned into the Rare Podcast, and of course, I'm your host with the most, NK, aka NK Flows, aka the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. You done know the thing already. And of course, I'm joined by my lovely co-host. Let's start with
another one, TS. Mr. Man combing his beard.
It's Jixon.
Okay. Now we are joined by a special guest today. Introduce yourself, my brother.
Nouveauricheash, Ashton the Govs, innit? Say no more, big man. Yeah, just here with a man them today, innit?
So, like, little intro about yourself. Like, where can they find you on socials? Like, what do you do? Like, you get me?
Socials. I don't really use Twitter too much. Keep that private, innit? But where do I look into? Say no more. But yeah, Instagram, nouveauricheash. Are you man gonna type it somewhere because people won't be able to spell that, innit?
I will snap it right there underneath.
My guy.
Plug yourself.
When I say TS, my guy from there, innit? But yeah.
Come on.
nouveauricheash, Twitter, Snapchat, nouveauricheash, but don't add me unless you know me. Like that.
You get me.
Yeah.
Come on. And also, you know, with Rare Podcast, keep subscribing. We are seeing you lot subscribing. We appreciate the likes. We appreciate the shares. You lot keep doing that, and you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You get me? But enough with the intros. You know, we came here to discuss, you know, a very important topic. It's been happening a lot in the media. Football in racism. Hey, we for the fire. Racism, English.
Football.
Racism in football.
Football and racism.
Football and racism. Yeah, football and racism. That's the title. Football and racism. But anyway, racism in football. We've most recently seen it in England versus Bulgaria game, where England were playing Bulgaria in, I think it was European qualifiers. European qualifying game, and English players, particularly the black ones, were greeted by a lot of racist, bigoted slander. And there's been a lot of conversation. There's been a conversation about players walking out. There's been a conversation about, you know, should black players have to walk out? So I brought the man there here to discuss that. So Yuvo?
Ashton, call me Ashton, bro. Let's go by government.
Cool. I don't make people's government side because I keep doing this TS.
Everybody knows it anyway.
I know.
Everybody knows it.
So Ashton, like, since you brought you on, like, what's your whole thing about this, like, opinion on this racism debacle that's been going on? Do you think, like, it's a new thing or something that's been happening throughout the history of football?
We know it's not a new thing.
Yep.
But obviously, it's now a swept under the carpet thing. But now with it all coming back and everything, it's just like the issue's been highlighted. But I'm very strong in my stance that so much of it ain't being dealt with correctly. Like so much of it. Because I feel right now is very...
By like FA managers.
Oh yeah, by FA, by managers. But it's not just down to the FA and to the managers. You can say to some extent it's the players as well. But obviously, they're kind of like pushed like under the radar because they're the ones that are facing it. But ultimately, they're the ones that can't really have a say in it because we know PR, all them things there, don't really allow them to have a say in it. But I feel like it is being dealt with like very poorly because right now, I would say, I think you man can agree with me, it's a fad right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's a fad. It's no more than like a popular topic.
But the anti-racism campaign is a fad or just racism?
I'm not just talking about the whole anti-racism campaign. Like, forget campaigns. Like, for a second, let's scrap like campaigns. Let's scrap kick racism out of football, all them things. Let's scrap that out. I'm talking like just people caring. Like, let's say to that extent.
Okay.
People caring because like the society, like the norm, could I say the norm? Yeah. Is right now to kind of care. But
Sure you care.
yeah, I feel like showing you care is way more prevalent than actually like wanting something done about the issue.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I'm touching in on like not even on England and Bulgaria, but like a whole nother incident. But let's say, for example, the Bernardo Silva situation.
Oh, the monkey one.
The Bernardo Silva situation.
Let's talk about that.
Because there's a lot to this. Like, because all of us here, all of us sitting here, as black men, black brothers, we've all had friends of different ethnic minorities or even white friends. Like, most of us obviously from areas
So
that
for context,
that there aren't many
Bernardo
white
Silva
people, but
and Benjamin Mendy. What was
yeah,
it?
Bernardo Silva, Benjamin Mendy. If you've seen these man's Instagram, like very good friends.
Yeah.
Like very good friends. But obviously, Bernardo Silva posted the picture of Benjamin Mendy when he was younger, and compared it to a little Portuguese chocolate.
Yeah.
But the problem is the Portuguese chocolate one.
Very
Not only was
racist.
it like imitation of a black kid,
Mm-hmm.
it's literally like a gollywog, and there were adverts of it that were like
And now they're all banned.
slavey based, and it's banned now, isn't it?
Yeah, the chocolate's
it's banned
banned.
now.
Yeah.
So that's only the controversy behind it. But relating back to my original point now, whereas like it's kind of a fad. What I've seen, so regardless on your stance in the situation, because my stance, like if I drop my opinion in it, is that like I understand that like it was a joke because we've all had like jokes with like our
Yeah.
white friends, our Asian friends, whatever
Yeah.
ethnicity,
Yeah.
like just about race.
Yeah.
Obviously, Bernardo Silva should know way better
To put
than
down social media.
publicising it.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like when they're saying, yeah, he needs to do a 6-game ban, educational courses, I feel like the educational courses, I don't think he needs to do that much, but I feel like it is relevant because he should kind of know like why people see that, because it looks like in his response, he didn't clock why people saw that as a problem.
But at the same time, in his defense, it's like if these jokes are probably flying in their group chats or whatever, these jokes are
Yeah.
and him and Mendy are cool with each other. So this is probably something that Mendy has seen time and time again.
Yeah.
And
Letting it run.
and he's letting it run. So Bernardo Silva might be thinking, okay, if Mendy's letting it run, if other black players in my team are letting it run, surely other black people, like other people must think that this is calm, like this can run on social media. Because if the man them I'm targeting, if the man them I'm making jokes about are laughing, why is it anyone else's business? But at the same time, he needs to realize that just because these man accept it doesn't mean we, like the public, need to see it. Do you know what I mean? I thought that should have stayed in the GC.
It basically became a norm for the minute. If you're bouncing in the group chat, if you're bouncing with your boys naturally, and you put it on social media, by that point it was normal to him to just bounce with Benjamin Mendy.
It's true.
But it's literally the reaction of the reaction of people, the reaction of fans.
But the thing is, when you have like a big platform, you need to be wary of the stuff that you post on it.
Yeah.
So like, you know, lately everybody's on this whole like the whole if you see something racist, it gets banned, like stuff like Gucci, the whole H&M thing. So if he saw the outrage from all them situations, then he should have known it. Me posting this onto, how many followers does he have on Twitter or something?
Millions,
Like, exactly.
Millions,
Me
bro.
posting it onto Twitter,
Followers
and then
have
everyone,
followers.
and then everyone seeing it. Obviously, there's going to be outrage, so you can't be acting all like oblivious and surprised when you see all these people getting angry. So like, if you have jokes like that with your friends, yeah, that's cool. But keep it in the messages. Don't need to be brought onto Twitter.
I feel that's a lesson for him to be that he needs to learn specifically, because again I feel like he was ignorant to the situation. Obviously, like he said, he's probably flown these jokes around hella black players, and you know they've let it run. So again, he's assumed that boom, because even in his Twitter response, he was like, "Oh, why do people care about jokes made among friends?" So he's only seen it from the perspective of him telling the joke to Mendy, and if Mendy's cool with it, you lot should be fine. But at the same time, it's like those jokes have wider implications, especially within the game of football, where black players have been ridiculed for a long period of time. I mean, John Barnes, not to get his stoke, but John Barnes, when he was playing, had banana skin thrown at him. Like,
This is in the 80s.
is in the 8th.
He'll
So
probably
it's like,
throw banana skin at himself
fam,
nowadays.
we all know how black players in Italy get done. So it's like, I understand he was making a joke with a friend, but wider awareness needs to be put, especially with a player of Bernardo Silva's quality and acclaim. He needs to, relax about certain jokes. Just keep him in the GC. Like, there's nothing wrong with you making the joke, but when you put something onto a public platform, you're gonna get a public reaction because because the thing is, you intended to put that joke on Instagram for people to laugh. When you got the opposite reaction, you're saying now,
just a
why are
joke,
people
too.
reacting? But if people had laughed with you would have enjoyed that reaction.
But the thing is, that's wild, is that he'd even at the what's that guy's name?
Mendy.
Mendy. He'd even at him. So it was like,
But it was in a thread though, so it was kind
What
of.
thread? I didn't see that
it was
thread.
about-
Everybody knew it was
Everyone
Mendy.
knows about Mendy. Everyone knows about Mendy.
Yeah.
still, I don't get stuff like that. Why would you put on social media and cry?
But
Or would you call
fam-
it just between friends?
You know what it is though? I think like obviously the whole point is like, Because let's be real, if you're gonna break down racism over society long term, because remember, racism in football don't come just in football. Like, society, innit? If you're gonna break it down long term, yeah, is that it's all about education. And I feel what this thing mainly is, yeah, is a breakdown of barrier of like education and where it's not necessarily about offending people, because you man knowing me that offending people, I could do that in my day to day.
Exactly.
But it's not about offending people. It's literally about not perpetuating like the racial stereotypes and having him continue in society where it becomes what it is now or what it has been. Yeah. So, but for added context, like I'm realizing the guy who Bernardo Silva is, where he comes from, etc. Because I know for a fact that like from middle class Lisbon, and I can't talk for facts. I could just talk on that small bits of details that I know, because I live in a heavily Portuguese area. They're Portuguese, Angolans, Guinea-Bissau, Cape Verdeans, all them, man, yeah. So what they tell me is that Portugal is quite racially divided, and it is a place where it's not like the UK where racist jokes can't run. Portugal, like
they can fly.
It'll run. It will fly. Like the fact that chocolate got banned is like a big step, because like stuff like that will fly. So it's like, while I very much doubt Bernardo Silva's racist, I'm sure all of us, everybody that knows the situation doubts that he's racist. But it's kind of a thing where it's like,
I think that was a step too far.
Yeah. I don't personally. I feel like the joke's calm, but I feel because like I'll be real, like that's a joke that not that exactly thing, but those are jokes that me and Amanda will let fly in it. But it's like, do you know the implication of that joke to wider society? Do you know what that joke can bring on? Do you know?
Where it originated from as well?
Yeah. Do you know where it originated from and how where it originated from can have an effect into wider society?
He lacks knowledge in
It's
that.
like if you don't know about them things, then I feel like you shouldn't necessarily be joking about them. But it's not for me to tell people what they should do and shouldn't do.
Yeah.
But back to my original point that I was coming from, what I ended up seeing on Twitter is like why I feel like it's a fad. The whole racing in football thing is a fad. Is that I saw a lot of white people that I can only assume, just an assumption that can't say anything for definite or for sure, but I can only assume a lot of white people that didn't necessarily grow up in multicultural society, didn't necessarily grow up around black people, Asian people, whatever ethnic minority you want to talk. I've seen them kind of saying, oh, how can this be a joke? Or how can... Because everybody does a little bit of snooping on Twitter. Like I click like people's profiles and see like they only know white people, for example. It's just a mad assumption, but it's always them the ones that are saying, how can this possibly be a joke?
Overcompensating.
Yeah, how can people joke about these things? How anytime you say some sort of ethnic joke, you're racist. So I feel like, like if you haven't grown up in the environment where these things can run or where these things are like appropriate amongst peers, because we know about each other's struggles, etc., then it's like, why are you only sticking up for it? Because you see it as a problem where a lot of people don't see it
as a problem. Yeah, I don't see like him making jokes with Mendy as a problem. Like them he can make as many jokes as he wants, because that's his friend. And as long as there's boundaries set within that friendship, that's fine. Again, my perspective was just putting it on social media and all of that. But like another avenue I want to tackle as well is because you kind of said this whole anti-racism thing in football is kind of a fad right now, and a lot of the time in media, especially like when it comes to football pundits, I've seen there's been a much more concerted effort from football pundits to address it than ever before. A lot of the times it'd be like, yeah, there's racism, but these are just from a specific, we can't label the whole league as racist. People try to cover up that there's racism in football. This is the first time in a long time where I've actually seen like football pundits say, nah. Whether I don't know whether society has changed to the point where people become more inclusive, or whether the fact that there's more black players playing in football in general, so they can't be as openly racist because there's maybe a black man playing for their team, or maybe there's a black man, who's a captain of their team. So it's very interesting to see.
Let's also remember that these pundits will have to stick with the audience, with the public, and say, this is racist. Even though they personally may not feel that way, but for the sake of BT Sport telling them, you have to stick with this. This is going to be your agenda. This is what you have to say. Sky Sports saying that. Because even I watched, I don't know if you saw Patrice Evra and Jamie Carragher, and they were talking about the Evra and Suarez situation. And Jamie Carragher was a part of that dressing room when Suarez was racist. He was a part of all of that with Liverpool.
Yeah.
And when the incident happened and Suarez got banned, Liverpool were wearing t-shirts, Suarez t-shirts against Wigan.
Yeah.
And then Jamie Carragher, when I was watching it yesterday, Jamie Carragher was acting very oblivious, like, yeah, that happened, but I didn't know until we got into the hotel. I didn't know that they were wearing t-shirts until this.
But he was an active participant.
Yeah, I genuinely, I saw right through him. I think he was being fake right there. He was probably a part of it. Like, yeah, he said the initial reaction when the incident happened is to be on the side of your friend, be on the side of your family, whoever. So he was just saying he was just backing Luis Suarez, not realizing like the extent of the situation. But even stuff like that, those pundits, they may not feel like they have to stand with the public, but BT Sport, Sky Sport, all these places will tell them this has to be what you say.
And you know, speaking
Otherwise, you're gonna lose your job.
Speaking of pundits as well, it's like I feel like okay, there's a narrative going on. I don't know. I'm iffy on it that certain pundits will, in fact, no, not even pundits. There's certain language in football that for me is quite racist. There's quite racist. Whenever a player's attitude is brought up, whenever a black player's attitude is brought up, Moise Kean hadn't played a single game in the Premier League. You know, Mr. Graham was like, you know,
Graham Souness for all those.
Mr. Graham,
Mr.
Graham
Blood Clot Souness
was like, this guy, great talented player, did things for Juventus. Why would Juventus want to sell him? Must be his attitude. Where until that point, there had been no articles about his attitude. All he had done...
Assumption. It was all assumption. He hadn't even seen him play.
All he had done, was rightly so, be angry that man were racist to him. So be angry that man were racist to him, and then man like Bonucci, I'll tell him, he should have celebrated in that way. There's different ways to
50-50.
Oh
50-50.
my god. The situation is 50-50.
on him.
50% of the situation is nah, man. Literally.
Yeah, that situation was not 50-50.
That was pure in racism, blatant. And to even think that Moise Kean has an attitude problem when he hasn't even played a single game in the Premier League and there have been no reports about his attitude, for me screams an agenda. Screams a massive agenda.
When we were having this conversation outside, Ashton said that all these pundits, all these footballing, like the white people in football, want every black person to be like
Kante,
calm, collected, never has like a social media presence, doesn't say too much. When people Keane and Pogba show their confidence on social media, he's being flamboyant on social media. Lingard as well. It's a problem.
It's a problem.
Exactly, like fam. When it comes to like Jesse Lingard, that's one that because people say attitude problem all over. He's a kid, like he's not a kid. We know he's 26,
young, though.
turning
He's
27.
He's just living his life.
The way he lives is very similar to a 19-year-old. Like, he just dances. He likes to dance. Like they'll kill him for liking to dance. Himself. Yeah, they'll kill him for liking to dance. Like they'll kill him for having other business ventures. Like, I understand the stance that like he had. What is it? He had like his grand opening for his clothing range a day after the loss. But like when it comes to your Keens, your Souness's, having to talk on that like is their era. Acting like players didn't like drink alcohol, like come to games drunk.
They didn't get into bar fights. Like these men were actively going to bars, drinking, coming to games drunk, actively smoking. I mean, Paul Gascoigne.
Yeah.
I mean, England's hero.
If you look at his transition,
let's be honest, a drunkard.
He was an addict. He was a drug addict as well, was he not?
Yeah, but he just had that sexual assault court case.
Yeah. But it's the fact that back then social media wasn't a thing. People's life wasn't publicized.
No, but I don't think they'd be even if social media was a thing. I don't think he'd be.
It's a race thing.
I think those players wouldn't be that under that much scrutiny. I think it's particularly flamboyant black men that are just unapologetic about their blackness. Like when Paul Pogba steps into a pitch, you can just see he wears his heritage on his sleeve. Players that are unapologetic about where they come from, the media don't like. The media will automatically paint them as, these man got an attitude problem. This man's got this man's got that. When really, really and truly, they don't. And another phrase in football that I believe to be racist is, Ashton said it, pace and power. When you minimize a footballer's technical ability to just, what pace, what power. And the reason why that's a racist term is because pace and power have nothing to do with skill. it's all about it all feeds into the stereotype. These black men, you know, they're just genetically built. They're savages. They're brutes. Look how much strength he got. Look how much speed he got. You know, you can't teach that. These man, you can't teach. They're taking away the footballing IQ and intelligence of these players.
They do have,
which they have an abundance of.
And when I say I can list so many examples of this, I'm like, even Moise Keane, on the same day that they said that about him, all I heard about Moise Keane
Pace,
was
power.
he's got so much pace, he's got power. You know, this guy is so technically gifted. Like Moise Keane, if you watch him, a very technically good player. He's got fast feet. Iwobi doesn't even have pace and power like that.
Doesn't have no ounce of pace or power.
About him is they talk about him like he's Adama Traore, bro.
Iwobi's a number 10. No, Iwobi's even look positioning doesn't make sense. Iwobi's a number 10. What number to play a number 10? You have to have skill and technique. That position is built for people who are technically gifted.
But why would you have? That's part of the agenda.
Why would you describe a player who's naturally a number 10 by having attributes such as pace and power? It doesn't make any sense.
That's why these men see Iwobi as a winger, though. That's why a lot of pundits, because there's a lot of pundits that have a good football IQ. Jamie Redknapp's got a good football IQ, but Jamie Redknapp also falls into that pace and power bracket too much. And I think he started to tone it down over the last year because he's been addressed on Twitter because he falls into it too much and he knows. But these guys will still tell you that Alex Iwobi's a winger. Like, do you guys not see how he plays? Like, have you guys not watched him in the youth team? Because I'm thinking, how do I know so much more than all these pundits? Like, if you're doing your education, you'll find out. In fact, you just have to watch football to realise that Alex Iwobi is a technically gifted player, not blessed with too much pace and power, that can do his thing in that way. But there's always the narrative, he's a winger. He's a natural winger. He's not a natural winger at all. But because a winger is seen as a position where the black boy from London plays.
Literally,
just slap them into that bracket.
Play Sunday League, and that's what they do.
Yeah,
and they kick the ball down the wing. They love it.
Bomb it down the wing.
Down the channel for Jamal. He'll grab it.
Tactics is just like
down the channel.
Right, son.
Get the ball. Get it down to Jamal. Get it down to Jaden. Get it down to Jermaine.
Right, Jamal. I want you to use that strength, that natural giving strength you've got. Use that speed. Bomb down the wing, son. You've got it, mate.
Jamal wants to be a cam. He wants to be controlling the game.
Put him down the wing. Put him down the wing.
Subtle racism, man. That's the thing about
subtle.
Britain.
It's little things.
It's subtle.
That's the thing that jars me so much.
Most people won't realise it. Most people don't even realise they're saying it. In fact, us, man, we won't realise that we would have taken on some of these little points. That some little parts are already not embedded, but already nurtured into our agenda because we've heard this and so. This pundit, this football expert say it. So they're already ingrained into our agenda. Because who's arguably the most pacey and powerful direct runner of a football in this modern era in the last 10 years? You could say Ronaldo, Gareth Bale.
But both white.
Wayne Rooney.
And when they
give it
just take it easy. Just take it easy.
You gotta cut that.
No, but Gareth Bale.
When they speak of them, they don't speak of them.
Gareth Bale is pure. He is the definition of pace and power.
We can left foot though. Don't forget that as well. But
exactly. But it goes into power. Gareth Bale. I've always heard Gareth Bale. They do what they'll say. They'll use other words: explosive, dynamic,
bombing down the wing.
Never, but pace and power will be used to describe any black man. Any black man.
Bro, you ever think I've heard anybody talk about Adama Traore's close control and dribbling ability? Nah.
They don't want to talk about it.
Pace and power that
the
he runs
only
with.
time that narrative doesn't apply to black man is when they're South American, when they're Brazilian. When they're Brazilian, it's these men are different. Because we know that Brazilians play a certain type of way. So that's why they'll never describe someone when Robinho was in the Premier League, they'll never use pace and power of him because they know that South American football is very, South American footballers are extremely technically gifted, especially Brazilians. You don't even need pace and power.
They've got a separate narrative already instilled for Brazilians as well. Because Brazilians are Brazilians. So we're not even talking about pace and power. You can talk about just Brazilians in general. And this don't even coming about just black people. This is just Brazilians in general. And I think you could argue that it's not your white players from Brazil that get this, because you wouldn't necessarily hear this about Kaká. You wouldn't necessarily hear this about Jorginho, who is Brazilian. I know what I'm talking about. Just plays for Italy. But he is Brazilian. But you will hear this about your Brazilians from other races like your Robinhos, your Dinios. You wouldn't even hear this about Kaká or Pato. Like Pato actually fell off as well. But
or Oscar
you hear
or someone
the
like that.
reason for their fall off is
Money, they got
money, parties, greed, bro. Because Robinho, you can argue that it was,
yeah.
it definitely was. But you're also forgetting Robinho had shed loads of injuries. Robinho was so injury prone, it's unbelievable. One that always gets me as well is Denilson. There's been, do you man know what Denilson I'm talking about? Not Arsenal Denilson. No. You man don't know. There's a player that played in the early 2000s, innit?
Speaking to them out, bro.
Called Denilson, innit? Wicked left foot, step overs galore, like feet, technically, pace. Like he was bought from Betis by Betis for about 25 million in before 2000. But when someone's going for that money before 2000 from the Brazilian league, you know they're serious. But he fell off, failed to adapt to Europe and everything. But the early narrative was parties, this, he must be going to parties, he must be going to this. I heard an interview with him, he's like, yeah, because he's black Brazilian, or I didn't even just think he's just black Brazilian, just ethnic Brazilian, just poor Brazilian. Whether you're black, whether you're olive skin, whatever type of Brazilian or Latin American you are, unless you're the figurehead type, then you're going to get slapped with that narrative. But yeah, he made the interview saying, well, it wasn't that. It's injuries and a struggle to adapt. Like, mentally, it's a struggle to adapt. Like,
even with
Racism in Brazil is
even with Dino, even with Ronaldinho, right? When we saw him in his prime, the media loved him. Of course, everyone loved him. But when he started to decline, I immediately saw the narrative shift. He's a party animal. He does this. He does that. And of course, Ronaldinho, from what I've seen, obviously obviously every football player likes their leisure time. But I feel like with Ronaldinho,
every human likes their leisure time.
exactly. But he wasn't doing anything out of the norm. He wasn't doing anything out of the norm. Like, of course, my man. Okay, of course, if you take images of my man at a party, you're gonna create a narrative that he's a party guy. But he didn't seem like a party goer. He just seemed like
training.
Was this the UK media?
Do you know how many players
bare
got
media,
parties on
Spanish,
legs?
European media.
Bro,
Because he played in Italy, he played in Spain, but it's Europe, innit? But
Ronaldinho is black, innit?
Black Brazilian.
but yeah, do you know how many? But it's always a slap on the Brazilian players, because do you know how many players do the same? Like, I could tell you footballers that I've seen at certain places because they go out pretty much every night. Oh, what I was gonna say. But yeah, I could tell you footballers that have had their career as deemed as injuries when they've got cocaine addictions. Exactly. But they can't name drop like that, innit? But I could tell. But obviously, it's mad, innit?
we can say that they're white.
Yeah, white footballers, white
They're
European
not
footballers, innit?
They're not.
But yeah,
Shame.
so, but they haven't been shamed in the media. You man only knew that because I told you, because I know inside sources that.
Yeah.
I know inside sources that have told me, innit? So it's like, why has this narrative only been reserved for a certain agenda? Is it to perpetuate that agenda further, or are we really trying to change stuff?
If that narrative was stuck to white people, there'll be major backlash.
Absolutely.
If that narrative was stuck like it is now, stuck to black people, even if there's major backlash, it's not heard and they don't care.
You know what?
Them.
I'm not sure about that.
Go on.
I'm not sure there'll be major backlash if a narrative was stuck with just white people. Because literally based on the fact that even though obviously the problems are very different and you can't really compare, a lot of the times poor working class, let's say your chavs and whatever, poor white people are subjected to a lot of their own agendas as well by the middle class British and the middle class British media. For example, let's talk about Magic Rooney. Wayne Rooney, one of the best players this country's ever seen, yeah? Even David Beckham, your Steven Gerrards, your whoever all these men are, a lot of the press they get is comparable to a lot of the things that, you know, your Raheem Sterling's received when they were young. I wouldn't say it's the same. I would say Sterling's definitely had it worse than most. But Rooney and Beckham have had a few bad headlines in their day.
They have,
for virtually nothing.
But I don't know. The difference between Rooney and Beckham is that what they do is that, okay, the media may publicize their stories about, okay, there's a scandal here and scandal there, but they will never. What I've seen with black players as well, and this go back to the pace and power thing, is that we've never minimized Rooney as a player. We've never minimized David Beckham as a player. What the narrative did with what happened with Raheem Sterling, particularly Raheem Sterling, man. First of all, for his move to Man City to Liverpool, he was demonized as greedy.
Yeah.
He was demonized and
Money grabbing 20-year-old.
greedy, and he's not worth the money. Is he that good? Remember, the media were critics. Don't be confused now that Raheem Sterling's considered a world-class player. Don't be confused. Before, he was considered bang average. The media used to minimize his potential all the time. People used to say that Sterling's a good player, but is he a world-class player? That debate used to happen until he went to Man City and his talent.
I think that conversation started because he was the most expensive English player and he was
Black.
But you
If
do
he
know,
was
like,
a white expensive English player, that conversation would have been.
That's
like,
true,
what do
you
you
know,
call it? The media they like to paint black people in a bad light. So that's why they're probably doing this. Like, I've seen a lot of headlines about Raheem Sterling, even the one where he bought his mama house.
Yeah, and Phil Foden did the exact same thing.
And then he got
At a
dragged
younger
for
age.
it.
Exactly.
And then boy, they congratulated
Phil
him
Foden,
for it.
yeah.
Then even his girlfriend, she couldn't come to one of his matches. They were like, oh, she went out to shop instead. I'm like, why is that a headline?
Even when he done something as simple as I think he went
Pasty
McDonald's
from
shopped
Greg's
in
or Primark. Yeah.
No, the gun. Remember the tattoo? The whole
Piers Morgan
scandal
was getting
about
onto that.
the scandal about the tattoo, which was to commemorate his own father.
Who
But
was killed by a gun.
but even despite his own reason, people are like, oh, it symbolizes gun violence.
Yeah.
Bro, why?
Symbolizes gun.
Because what I said about
Hey, let me go
white
back,
British
bro.
lower class players, is relevant, but I'm deep in it even more now. It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Because I still think it's relevant, and certain man, because they're from a certain lower class background,
Yeah.
get their stick. But it's definitely not the same because David Beckham's got, what's that tattoo? He's got like, is it like I can't exactly say what it is, but it's like a knife, a cross tattoo
tattoos that David
on the
Beckham
back
has
of his neck
is a cross
that he's had forever. Yeah, but when it comes to Raheem Sterling getting tattoos now,
It's an issue.
it's mad.
It's an issue. It's an issue.
Fam, they want to pick every little problem and just make it into something that it isn't.
But now we're talking about the covert racism that European media, specifically sometimes British media,
Say British.
put forward. But in the England versus Belgium game, oh sorry, you're gonna say
I
something.
can't always call them out on it because it's so subtle that you, like Ashton said, you might miss it or you can't call them out on it. They're like, oh, we're not being racist.
Yeah.
We didn't say this, we didn't do that.
But you know,
That's the thing. That's the
I know I'm
most
coming off the rails or whatever you call it, the tangent. What do you guys call it?
tangent.
Yeah. But you know what do you call it? You know the whole Meghan Markle situation? You know, for like ever since she started, like ever since she got married to Harry.
Yeah.
Like the media just been every little thing she did, there was a problem. She opened the car door by herself, it was an issue. She held her belly a certain way, it was an issue. And then now only Harry has gone and said that he's gonna sue them if they carry on putting out these headlines about her. And then now look how nice they are. They a good mother. Meghan Markle does this, and I'm just like, the media is definitely racist, especially British media.
That leads me on to a perfect segue. Now, back to the England versus Bulgaria game. A lot of players were talking about black players should walk off. But I think, personally, it shouldn't just be the black players walking off. The same way Jason just said that Harry, who's a white man, supported a black woman. These white players support your brethren. Walk off too. I don't want to always hear Raheem Sterling and these black players speak, because you know why? Because of course you're the recipient of the racism. Of course you're gonna feel a certain type of way, and of course you're gonna act because it affects you. But I want the teammates around you to help you, to be around you,
to show them you understand.
to show.
Cool. Yeah, you know what I got to say about that?
Yeah.
I'll say, to be honest, I'll say that has been done to the extent where if Raheem Sterling, Tyrone Mings, Marcus Rashford, if them man wanted to walk off the pitch that day, I could say, well, not for a fact, but I'm pretty sure that Gareth Southgate and Harry Kane would have all walked off the pitch. They would all, Harry Kane would have been like, yeah, guys, let's go. They did ask Harry Kane a couple questions and Gareth Southgate a couple questions about it. Like, obviously, white guys that can't talk for Gareth Southgate, but I know Harry Kane. Harry Kane's from an area close to where I live, innit? So I know that he's been around black people in his life.
Yeah.
But at the same time, why are we making football players? Well, obviously they've got to a degree, talk about it. But why are we making them so responsible for fighting the issue? Because I know half the time Raheem Sterling probably doesn't want to be this figurehead for the issue, but he's got to be. But further than that, these white players now have to do it because they're expected to do it. It goes back to what we were saying before about pundits being expected to condemn the issue and talk about it. Like now, white players gotta condemn the issue and talk about it because that's what they got to do. It's all going back to it for me personally. All going back to it being a fad, being something that's got to be done because it's popular, because it's socially acceptable. Obviously, where the fad leads to less racism in society, more education in society, that'll be great. But for me, I'm very reserved on like this issue. I'm very skeptical about how much of a fad it is, because in 5 years, if the agenda is to start demonizing black players again, or we're just going to demonize the few Asian players there are in football, or whatever minority, like,
you know, this conversation of
what's going to happen?
The pitch, I was so on the fence with it. I didn't know if I agreed with it. I didn't know if I disagreed with it, because like you said, it's their job. That's their career. They'll be stepping away from their career. They'll be stepping away from their job just to silence a few people. And I feel that if you, as a black footballer of an ethnic minority, if you step off the pitch because of racism, I feel like you kind of show that you've been defeated, and you're kind of giving the fans what they want. That's how I feel.
For me, I see it more.
Especially if like you said, should Harry Kane, the captain of England, the white man, the captain of England, walk off the pitch, I feel like if he says yes and he takes the initiative to say yes, we're gonna walk off, and then leads the whole team, I think that would be better than having the black people walk off to show that they've been defeated by themselves.
For me, I was saying that the reason why I'm not necessarily, again, the players walking on and off is difficult, because at the same time, this is these man's career, and Raheem Sterling walking off in the prime of his career could have a lot of negative impact.
Yeah, that's why I was on the fence.
Because this guy's in the prime of his career, he needs to showcase to the world his talents at the height of his career. Do you know what I mean? So he needs to be on that pitch playing. But at the same time, the reason why walking off is effective, because not just walking off once. If it happens another time, walk off again and again and again. The reason why, because it starts affecting people's money. Because if people are going to games knowing that, let's say the opposition is racist and our players are going to walk off, it's going to give more incentive for not only the fans but the corporations to put a stamp on racism. Because let's be clear, if players walk off games don't happen. Games don't happen, which affects people's money. Because that means, I think that affects everyone. If a game doesn't happen, it affects the broadcasting network broadcasting the game. Because now they've got to make up for lost time, and they've essentially wasted money buying a slot that's not being filled. It affects the state.
Probably backfire to the footballers walking off.
It probably it will, but it won't. Because I'll tell you why. If footballers are. I'm not gonna say every footballer in the world is gonna be anti-racist, but if the prominent figures, like the cash grabs the prominent figures in the Premier League, such as the Harry Kanes and all of them, say we're not playing no more, that is gonna have a major effect, because the players are the stars of football. Yeah. These players are the reason why we watch, and as much as they may take a small L in terms of the money they make, these corporations are taking bigger L's, because the same way that when a football team is doing well, it helps the business, it helps the owners. When a football team is doing bad, it hurts the owners, and the owners will be like, "You lot are messing up my investment with this racism thing. Cut it out.
So, like you said, someone asked you, or there was a conversation that we had, and you said, when people say, why do footballers get paid so much? Footballers get paid millions, but
because the owners billions.
They make the owners billions, and it's true. It's true. Do you think that footballers should show the resilience to it? For the sake of staying on topic of the racism and then getting racism, should they show the resilience to stay on the pitch and to deal with it?
I don't want to say they should, because they shouldn't even be in this position in the first place. There should be checks and balances by the FA, by UEFA, by FIFA to make sure that this thing is stomped out. Really, these footballers are going above and beyond their line of duty. We have to credit them for that. They're going above and beyond because the organisations at hand are not doing their jobs. 100%. Let's be clear. If the organisations were doing their jobs, we wouldn't be in this position. But because the situation is where it is, I feel like I don't want to encourage it, but sometimes the L might have to be taken for a bigger cause.
How do you think the organisations should do their job?
First and foremost, the fines they giving these clubs are measly. For example, I was watching Arsenal, Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV, and he said when he was growing up, teams were banned from European competitions. I think the Premier League was banned from from the Champions League at one point. The entire Premier League, because the British fans used to be If you go back, I think.
I got to search that one, fam.
Yeah, apparently, again, I might be wrong. If I'm chatting rubbish, the comments will get me. But but apparently, like certain teams in the Premier League were banned because of English fans. They were doing up hooliganism in other people's countries, and the UEFA said, "Nah, like, do you know what? You English teams, stay there. You're not going to be in Champions League for like a year."
That wasn't even racially fueled, was it? That was just behaviour.
Disruptive behaviour. You lot stay. Exactly. So if you were to tell a team like Red Star Belgrade, which are known for being quite, racist, you lot have done too much racist chants toward in recent years. You're not allowed in Champions League for 1 year. That messes up people's money. That makes because what's gonna happen is that, okay, let's say Red Star Belgrade are banned from the Champions League, right? The oldest are gonna be much stricter on racism in that next season. They're gonna be like, okay, you lot can't chant this, you lot can't chant this. So the club will police its own fans. So by the time they get back into the Champions League, they've already been conditioned not to be racist.
It's a good solution in my opinion.
But my only issue with that, is how can we long term educate these people? Because from when you do that, from when you ban people from being racist, that's gonna, while it will spew up a whole generation of people that realize that racism is a negative thing, because you're not really teaching them how racism affects certain people, it's going to also spew up a whole generation of people that are opposed to anti-racism now. Look at my brothers holding the, what is it? No anti-racism or whatever. The jumpers they're holding up, all them signs there.
Say no to racism.
Yeah. Like, it's going to fuel a bunch of people that, because they haven't been able to understand the issue at hand, because all they know is that them and their people got persecuted against for being racist, it's just going to add fuel to the fire. So I think when you do that, there needs to be so much more of a structure that is based on educating people, a long-term plan on how to combat this issue, rather than just doing that. And as UEFA will do, just doing that to show up appearances and leave.
Yeah.
But taking a stand in itself can be wild, innit? Because when you take a stand, everybody's got to take a stand together, because as you were saying earlier, touch on what you man was saying earlier about big businesses. Yeah, they'll be losing money, but there's also a way that, let's say, people like UEFA can twang the situation. If they're losing a certain amount of money, but they know not everybody's going to take a stand. Because look at what happened to people like Colin Kaepernick, innit? Took a stand, but obviously everybody's like, go cap. But no one really took it with him.
But that's why I'm advocating for the white players. Because, okay, I'm advocating, because in the Colin Kaepernick situation, right, he was very much on his own. So it was very easy to single him out. The reason why I'm advocating for like these prominent figures in football to stand alongside Raheem Sterling, because you can't isolate Harry Kane. Harry Kane's one of the biggest stars in the Premier League. If the media, if Harry Kane was like next to Raheem Sterling and backing him fully, the media won't turn on Harry Kane. That's their golden boy. So it takes you to be aligned with certain figures to provide that air of safety around you. Because if let's say when it comes to England, if Harry Kane says, okay, if Raheem's not playing, I'm not playing.
He has to do it with sincerity.
We have to do it with vim.
Well,
if he says
anybody can get isolated though, anybody can get turned into a villain.
I don't think so.
Anybody can,
because I
you
feel
have
like
to do it with so much vim.
Because you know why? Because even though the media are against Raheem Sterling, there are people that love the narrative that Raheem Sterling's getting. People are like, yeah, forget Raheem Sterling. These black players are this and that. Sorry, the white man's not going to turn on their golden boy. I don't think they're not going to turn on their golden boys. They're not. Harry Kane, we know Harry Kane is the media darling right now. The media, everyone loves Harry Kane. He is the symbol of that. He's England's golden boy. So if Harry Kane's like, I'm with Raheem, these white people are not going to now turn on Harry Kane. Because
has Harry Kane been vocal about this whole situation? Has he come out?
Oh yeah, he's had interviews where it's like, because I remember the last England match against Bulgaria, they asked him to talk a bit in it, and I can't tell you word for word what he said. I can't tell you much at all because I wasn't paying attention, because it was very much the mundane. Yeah, we condemn this. Yeah, I'll walk with my players off the pitch. You know, the normal stuff that you'll expect. You know, the captain of your team.
Politically correct stuff.
Yeah, politically correct stuff. So it's just that, and while you're saying that, yeah, it's cool, but it's just feeding into the whole fad. It's just feeding into the whole mundanity. Is mundanity a word? Anyway, I'm sure it is. I'm sure I saw it somewhere, but
Ain't made up a new word.
Trust me.
but yeah, it's just feeding into the whole like just run of the mill anti-racism. Yeah, like kick it. This kind of stuff that kick it out love. Because me personally, innit, I've got two issues with just kick it out as a whole brand, as a whole campaign, as a whole
Kick it out.
organisation.
That's a campaign against racism in football. Yeah.
So it just kind of goes along with the whole political correctness. Do this, do that. You're expected to do this. So obviously, yeah, carry on with your point, but he does talk, but
Would you not think of these propaganda videos where they put Messi on the forefront, Ronaldo on the forefront, Ibrahimovic on the forefront, saying say no to racism, no to racism, whatever?
Yeah.
Would you not think of-
Racism. What's that?
they're like-
No racism.
Spanish,
Yeah.
and I've forgotten it. but
Racism.
These propaganda videos, I don't know how effective they are, and I feel like there's a lot of them are done with insincerity.
Yeah.
honestly.
yeah,
Yeah.
fam, what have they done, fam? If you're gonna throw me bags to say bloody say no to an issue that I don't really care about,
That doesn't affect me.
yeah,
Exactly.
then bro, pay me the bags and I'll say no, obviously. And if I think, yeah, I'm gonna help people a bit, yeah, just give me the money. I'll do that. Run me that. You get what I mean? But so it's just one, what are the players taking out of it? Because like if we're narrowing it down, yeah, it's hard to think that there aren't any players without racist views, because it's just like cool, there must be top players. Even Messi's been caught saying stuff to certain African players that man can't chat too much about. So how many of them really, how many people are buying into the idea that you're feeding? How many people are saying no to racism, but like real talk are thinking that, oh, I hate the way some of these black players move.
Yeah.
And two, like what is it doing and what has it done? Again, fad culture. It's not just with this issue and racism. It's a lot of issues. Fad culture.
Yeah, there are definitely like many ways that this topic can be broken down. We could spend hours on hours talking about this. But in the comment section, comment down below as well. Like, what are solutions?
Tweet as well.
Tweet us. What are solutions to this racism in football problem? Like actual solution, because obviously there's the walking out thing, but maybe there might be, more accountability placed on the organizations. You get what I mean? But definitely, this is a topic that definitely. I don't think this is the last time we're going to speak about this.
Yeah, because this was just waffle. Like, we're just talking because there's a lot to talk about.
There's a
like
lot.
Like an onion, bare layers.
Exactly. But yeah, man,
We'll
definitely.
probably be sitting here again.
Definitely, 100%.
Again.
100%.
Y'all niggas got me hot.